Rhea Brown is a phenomenal visual artist. She is the owner of the Central Texas-based Phoenix Art Studio that provides mural, portrait, face painting, and art instructional services. She supports the EDIE clothing brand because she has definitely made the choice to evolve in life, both personally and professionally. As a child, she suffered from severe social anxiety and could never have imagined taking on a role such as an entrepreneur. She considered careers in veterinary medicine or forensic pathology to avoid people, but life happened and she ended up a stay-at-home mother with a rekindled passion for art. And one who once was afraid to charge over $100 for anything for fear that no one would buy, grew through time and experience to recognize her own value as precious and worthy. She is determined to leave a profound legacy before she leaves this world.
You wrote that.
Yes, I did. Thank you.
You wrote that, but you don't like hearing about yourself.
No.
So let's discuss. Let's talk. Let's grow. Let's figure this out. Tell me your first thoughts from that bio. You wrote that a year ago? Feels like about a year ago.
Yeah, it's still good though. It hasn't expired yet.
I'm sure that
it's pretty relevant.
It's pretty relevant.
Yes.
I mean, but you've grown since then, right?
Yes, I think in the same direction, just growing further in that same area. Just continuing to expand and network and grow my business and myself, of course. I think in life, we always get an opportunity to grow. There's always going to be something more that we can go through. And we have the choice to either quit or grow from it. So I think that's something that's going to continue to happen.
Absolutely. Okay. Let's start with early Rhea Brown.
Mm.
Let's talk about early Rhea Brown. Where were you born?
Where was I born? I was born in Los Angeles,
okay.
And I was actually adopted. The second time was the one at 6 months old, and I was adopted to a couple who was a mixed couple like my parents, and they were in the military. So we got to travel several places. We got to travel to North Dakota. We got to travel to North Dakota and Maryland, the Philippines, Illinois, North California, and then that was it. And then ended up in Texas.
Dope. So adopted twice.
Yes.
Okay.
My mother was very specific when she gave me up for adoption. She said that she wanted me to go to a married couple.
Okay.
And the first couple was actually headed for divorce.
Okay.
So I had to go back and wait for somebody else to come along.
Okay. Where do you consider home? Like, what do you call home?
Wherever I'm at.
Wherever you're at. So
right here, right now.
So the world is your home.
Yes.
She is an absolute artist.
Especially growing up in the military, we didn't really have a home base. We're always somewhere else. And then also knowing my biological family now, everyone is kind of scattered. You know, everyone, I can probably go anywhere and find somebody in my family or friends, and that's, you know, this isn't a one specific place.
Yeah, like, and you know your biological parents as well.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
So like your family, I guess, dynamic, how is it? Is is it great? Is it?
Well, I mean, it's a family. You know, you have your ups and downs. Mm-hmm. You have people that you're closer to and people that maybe you're not that close, so you have a little bit of distance, and I mean, it's a regular family. It's just a little bit bigger. I think it's interesting, the evolution of my family. The reason I was adopted is because, well, a couple of reasons. My grandfather had sent my mother away because she didn't want her to have a child with a black man. And also, he didn't want to end up raising me. He didn't think that she was ready as well. But by the time I was able to meet them all, they were very receptive toward me, and I think for the most part, I mean, the relationship is good. I got to be whoever I wanted to be. Like, I had friends, but I think more outside of school. Like in a large setting like school, I just kind of was in the background, not really noticed. I was scared to dress up, to interact with people, to bring any attention to myself, even to ask to use the restroom. I actually had I had issues, bladder issues, because I was so afraid. So I was just kind of, like I said, I was just kind of in the background. Nobody really noticed me. And if they did, they would talk to me like I was deaf or slow, as if speaking loudly to me would make me hear them. But
I mean, your response time probably was like, did you force them to yell at you like, did she hear me?
Yeah, I mean, if you're quiet, people are going to be like, is there something wrong with her? She doesn't talk or say anything. So yeah, in school, it was just kind of looked over.
How would you compare, like, how you were socially then to how you're socially now? Because I don't feel like you have social anxieties now. Like,
no.
You don't show
I'm not shy. I have accepted myself. I understand myself more. I'm not a loud person. I am an introvert. I'm more comfortable in smaller settings, with just a couple of people, as opposed to a large group. I get tired really fast in a large group. I've done trade shows, Comic-Cons, and sitting there for hours and hours, having to talk to people. I don't do well. A couple hours and it's like, okay, it's time. So I know my limits. And, as an adult, I'm not forced to go certain places. Yeah. So I can choose my environments. So I think that definitely makes a difference. But then also, like I said, it's not a fear anymore. It's not being shy. It's just being selective. I just enjoy smaller groups of people. But I'm not afraid to speak in large groups as well. But like I said, I just have my time limit.
What got you into art? When was the first time you were like, you know what, I love this?
I didn't say that until I was actually an adult. But I loved it. It's not necessarily that I knew that I loved it, but it was natural to me. It was just a lifestyle. I would draw all the time. I remember in middle school, people asked me to draw Snoop Dogg or Left Eye, and I would draw it for them. I would sit in my room, and even if it took forever and frustrated me, I would just sit there. I have to do this. I have to complete this. I would take it to school, and people would, they'd be like, I want this one, I want this one. And I remember one guy, he took it and put it in his notebook, and I did it all in pencil, so he erased my name and put his name on it.
Oh, no. That's super trash.
So I was good at it, and I just did it all the time. I would sit in my room and just draw. I'd fill up notebooks. In fact, I have them now. I have all the notebooks just that I'd fill up. I would be in my room and I would just do that for hours, watching a show or something. And I would also build things. I'd build for my dog. I would take a dolly and I would put a box on it, and I would cut up the box to make it into a house, and I'd put a little handheld fan in it, like in the ceiling. Like I made a house for my dog that was a mobile home.
You made a doggy mobile home.
Yes, and I had plans to grow up and live in a mansion. I actually designed it and started building it out of wood.
Wait, what? Like a model?
Yes, it was about this big, and it was 2 stories, and I was cutting up the wood and putting it all together.
What happened to it?
I don't have that anymore.
Oh.
I have all of the two-dimensional works, but I do have pictures of it.
Do you not still want to live in this mansion?
No, I'm not. I wouldn't want a huge place. I like tall ceilings and grand, decor, but I don't like a whole lot of space.
Okay. I want to see this mansion. It might have this moment might have been designed so that I can live in that mansion. Like, just give me the blueprint.
Yeah, when you're a kid, like, it had glass floors and.
That's super wild. No, glass floors is not gonna work. I'm not
Yeah.
doing glass floors.
So, that was normal. Designing my own clothes and cutting up material and sewing it together. I had my prom dress made, like, I designed it and had it made, and I had ideas in my head of what I wanted everything to be, and I tried to create that.
Yeah.
But it wasn't something that I thought I would do with my life.
Yeah.
It was just like drinking water.
Yeah.
That's what I knew how to do. I actually, in my first 2 years of high school, I got to go to a performing arts school in Maryland, which was a pretty good school. G went there from New York Undercover. You remember the little boy?
No.
No. Okay. So he went there. Malik Yoba played his father. His father would.
Yes,
He would come to the school and he would speak.
Yeah.
People were getting record deals, and so it was a good school.
Yeah.
And I only got to go 2 years because my father had to, get relocated with the military. But I learned a lot. I learned probably most of what I know there.
Would you say that was the most comfortable you were when you were, like, doing your school age years? Was that probably the most comfortable for you?
Yes, because we actually had a building, like, for all of the regular kids, and then we had an art building across the football field. And so it was like a different world. We had, I was one person in the main building, and then in the art school, I was somebody. I was seen. There were two of us that were like the head of the class. Like, everybody's like, oh, they're going to win this contest or they're going to do this or that. And I was one of them. And I was normal there. Like, there were a lot of kids with different colored hair and, it was just a completely different world there. So I felt normal there, accepted, and I was still shy, but I was seen more than anywhere else. But I still it didn't click with me that that's something that I would do with my life. I was going to be a doctor.
You was going to be a doctor? Wait.
That was my focus.
I don't feel like that was in the bio. Was that forensic? That wasn't a doctor, no?
Yeah, that's a doctor, but I was thinking more of a, just, I don't know, what specific kind of doctor, but I was going to be a doctor, and then I decided on veterinary medicine because it's like, animals, you don't have to really talk to people. So I actually had a full scholarship to study at Tuskegee University, where my father went. And he was super excited.
That you were going to go off and be this wonderful veterinarian who got her degree from the same college he went to.
Yes.
And then he got his heart broke.
Yes, he did.
It's usually how it works.
Senior year of high school, I found out that I was going to have my baby girl.
Okay.
And my world changed. I said, no, I don't want to go to school and be away from her all day. So I started a family. I went off, got married, and stayed home with her. Lasted for like a year. And it was wonderful. I mostly did get to stay home with my kids, most of the time, but I was doing it full time until I realized, hey, I still have this creative spark, these things going in my head, these things that I want to create and make and do. And I just started searching, It's like, what do I want to do? I did start going to college, and then I was like, no, I don't want to be away from her that much. I'll wait. I did end up getting my degree, but it took me a while. But I just wanted to stay home with her, and then I started playing around with fabrics and clothing design, and I actually found a local fashion designer and talked to her about, just bringing me in and telling me what she knows. We did one show together, and I was like, no. I don't know enough. There's a lot of equipment that I would need. I'd have to put a whole lot into it to figure this whole thing out, and I don't think I have the passion for this. So I just started drawing again, and people would ask me to draw a tattoo or, sketch a portrait or something like that. And I just started doing that, and I said to myself, hey, I know how to do this. This is what I should do. And it started off very slowly before it evolved into all these other things. It was just portraiture, just, painting portraits in acrylic. That's what it started out to be.
So have you ever had like a standalone, like a brick and mortar business?
No. I can't say that I've ever had a building. It's pretty much been out of my home for the most part, because that wasn't my goal. I wanted to be home with my kids. Like I said, there's so many things that I did. I painted murals along the way. I learned how to paint murals, face painted, started teaching art where I had I still do, teach at an art school in that building. Even at one point, I was managing the school for a little bit, trying that. No, that's not my thing. But I tried a lot of things. But most of it was, going from place to place, traveling, doing trade shows, Comic-Cons, traveling with face paint. I painted, anything that you can think of. People would say, can you try this? Can you do this? Can you try airbrushing? Can you paint on this metal truck? Can you? One of my clients, he designed a foot pedal for musicians, and he wanted me to paint the foot pedal like a soccer ball for his advertisements. And I said, I don't know how to do that. He said, well, God told me that you're going to do this job. And I was like, okay, I guess I'll figure it out.
God told me about this, so you figure out what you got to do.
Yeah,
okay,
you're supposed to do it.
Like playing drums?
Playing, what was it? I think it was a keyboard. So, because I guess they move around.
Yeah.
When you're playing, and this thing that he created, it kept it still.
Yeah.
I met a lot of interesting people along the way. People, creators, inventors, artists, musicians. It's been fun.
What's the longest period of time you've worked in a job that had nothing to do with art?
Probably the one that I just quit.
What did it take to build up that courage to take that leap of faith? Or did it take, you to build up that courage? Was it just I woke up one day and was like, you know what, I'm done? How was the process for you?
I remember listening to Steve Harvey, and he was talking about how he was selling cars or whatever he was doing, and a friend of his said, come and try this comedy club. And he was like, oh, okay, I'll try it. He does it, and he loves it. He falls in love and quits his job right away. And he was like, I don't encourage everyone to do that. But that's what I did because I had a passion for it. And I think he was living out of his car for a while or something. But he was doing what he loved. And I feel like I'm kind of that way.
Was that so? Like that video was the video you saw that and you were like, all right.
I saw it after.
Oh.
It was just like, okay, so I'm not the only one that just kind of jumped out there. You know, I had some personal things in life that had cost a lot of money, so I had been trying to take care of that. So it's not like I had prepared. You know, it was kind of like,
that was gonna be my next question.
Yeah, I had no preparation. It was just like, you know what? I feel like I'm going in circles. Like I need to be able to pay this thing off. I need to move forward and do better. And I have this, you know, this roof over me where I make this much money and I can only work this many hours here. And why not do my passion? Why not do what I love where there is no cap? It's just basically, how hard are you willing to work? Yeah. You know? Started painting at, there's a gallery in Killeen, only one gallery, called Carol's Art Gallery. And I started out there, and she would tell me, okay, paint a house. People like houses. Paint animals. People like animals. And so I would do whatever she told me, and I would bring it to the gallery, and she would sell it. And then I was thinking, what do people like? Still lifes? Let me paint some still lifes. Or, you know, I was just trying to figure it out.
Still life? What's a still life?
Like just something that's sitting still, like maybe a vase.
Okay.
Or flowers.
Gotcha.
And so I was trying to figure out my own art. I knew how to do commissions when people told me to do something, but what did I have to say?
Yeah.
And so it evolved over time, and I think my first series was about other people's stories. I took miracles that people experienced and I painted them, and I went around sharing them at different churches or, you know, galleries or what have you. And at this point where currently where I've quit my job, I had always been trying to think of something more, something greater to say. You know, I've shared what other people have to say. I've shared what I thought other people might want to buy, but actually during this time I just sat down and started doodling, and I shared it on the internet, and people liked it. And so I was like, oh, they like it. And those pictures, I just kept creating them. They actually started to become kind of like my conscience or my inner thoughts and feelings. Whatever I was feeling or thinking that day, I would just put it out. And I mean, it's still going. I have this body of work now that just happened. You know,
so
at this
you're
time.
in the content creation phase, like right now. Like you didn't plan it. You didn't create a bunch of content in advance and then quit your job and be like, all right, I got all this content.
No, I didn't have anything. In fact, I had my art trailer stolen last year, and so most of my art was gone. I have like a couple of paintings left, and so, and then I was doing some live drawings here and there. And so I was building back up a little bit, but, you know, I didn't really have much. Started an online store, trying to break into that world. I like the fact that I can share who I am as well as put out there what I'm going through, and other people can relate. And it's not just mixed girls, but it's anybody. You know, men, women, whatever race. People can relate. In fact, I just had a show, and whenever somebody would come up to buy a piece, they would say, that's me. And I love that feeling where they can say, that's me, like you've created me. And they can see themselves in me or in something that I've experienced. And I think that is definitely something to share. There's also a little hidden message in there. The girl, she always has her eyes closed and she doesn't have a mouth. So it speaks about domestic violence, you know, about not being able to see what's going on, not being able to break free necessarily, and not being able to speak about it, not being able to talk, being silenced, which is also part of another series that I have going on called Queens, which is about domestic violence. So I have something to say about that as well. I have a message. I have spoken, in like a seminar setting on the subject, and so I definitely have something to say about that as well. So yeah, I have a direction now, a message. I want to see more awareness on the subject. People think, well, you get punched in the face, that's bad, that's domestic violence, you need to get out. But I think there's so many things that are overlooked, so many unhealthy relationships that don't get seen, even in the court system. There's so many things that get overlooked. For instance, the way that you're spoken to. Somebody can break you down just from the words that they use. Yeah. They can make you unable to function and make you think that you can't survive on your own, that you're not beautiful, that you're worthless. There are so many more different types of abuse that so many people are unaware of. And what people don't understand is once you get into this relationship, start having kids, you're tied into this for life. So who you choose to be with, if it's a toxic relationship, you're going to be stuck in that. You are setting up your future. And I wish that there was more awareness. I have many friends in these situations, and it breaks my heart to see how much of a struggle it is and how underrated it is, even with the court system. Many times the courts will punish the abused because they don't understand it. They don't take it seriously. They're like I said, you don't have black eyes, you must be fine. But they don't understand there's people committing suicide. There are people committing homicide. There's people losing their minds, going through this, and they need someone to help. And I want to see young girls, especially, everybody, but young girls are, that's when you're just kind of more ignorant and just jumping in, it's cool. Oh, he's a bad boy or whatever. It's cool then. I'd like to see there be more awareness so that they can prevent, these things from happening.